Ever wondered if there's some kind of secret hidden in plain sight? Well, today we're diving into a really fascinating text that claims to have found exactly that, a hidden mathematical code supposedly woven right into the fabric of the Quran. So, this is the big question, right? Could there really be a deliberate, complex numerical system embedded within this ancient text? You have to admit, it's a pretty wild thought, and it's the mystery we're going to unpack together today. Now, the source for all this is a text called The Enigma of 19. And it's super important to remember we're not making these claims ourselves, we're just explaining the arguments and the math that the author presents. And believe me, their entire theory hangs on just one single number. According to the author, any hidden code has to have a key, right? And in this case, they say it's a single prime number that unlocks all these patterns throughout the Quran. So the question is, what is that number? 19. That's it. This is the number that the author claims is the absolute foundation of a complex, hidden mathematical structure. So, why 19? What's the big deal? Where does this whole theory even begin? Well, to really get the author's argument, we have to look at their very first piece of evidence. And it's found in one of the most fundamental, most repeated phrases in the entire Quran. And that phrase is the Basmalah. It's the invocation that opens up all but one of the Quran's 114 chapters, or surahs. It's a huge part of daily prayer and recitation, and according to this theory, it's also the cornerstone of this entire numerical code. Okay, so here is the author's foundational claim. First, they point out that the Basmalah, in its original Arabic, has exactly 19 letters. Second, it shows up 114 times in the Quran. And what is 114? Well, it just so happens to be 6 times 19. According to the text, this is the first undeniable link. So using that as a starting point, the author then zooms out and starts looking for other things, structural parts of the Quran, that also seem to line up with the number 19 or its multiples. And the claims start to stack up. The total number of chapters, 114, is 6 times 19. The very first revelation is said to have exactly 19 verses. The author even digs into the frequency of certain letters, noting that one key letter appears 57 times in a particular chapter, which, is 3 times 19. But the theory that's presented here doesn't just stop with simple multiplication. The author also puts forward connections that require, let's just say, a more unconventional approach to the math. A perfect example of this is how the author deals with the number 196. I mean, at first glance, it doesn't seem to have any obvious connection to 19 at all, but the source has this unique method to link them together. Okay, stay with me on this one. Here's how the author connects 196 to 19. They start with 196, which is 14 times 14. Then they take one of those 14s and just split it into its digits, a 1 and a 4. The final move is to add those individual digits back to the other 14, so you get 1 plus 4 plus 14, which equals 19. It's definitely a multi-step process, all designed to circle back to that key number. So after laying out all of these examples, from the simple multiples to the more creative calculations, the author finally gets to their big conclusion about what they believe all of this really means. So what's the whole point of all this math? Well, for the author, it's proof of what they call divine precision and symmetry. The argument is that the text has this mathematical coherence that is just so complex, there's no way it could have been created by a human. It had to be divine. So, where does that leave us? What do you make of all this? Is it a profound hidden code, a kind of divine signature embedded in scripture? Or is it just a classic example of our very human tendency to find patterns in places where maybe there aren't any? This text, The Enigma of 19, has laid out its case. What you decide to take away from it, well, that's up to you.